Hi, good evening. This is Jackie here, and I'm from Soulscribe Calligraphy, and welcome to Irish Wedding Chat. And today we have the lovely Anna Scheller with us. She is absolutely fantastic sales coach. So without further ado, I'm going to bring on Anna. Hi, Anna.
Well, thank you, Jackie. I'm so glad to be here. I was amazed that you thought to invite me to your chat, and I think we had a lot of fun yesterday. A lot of
We
fun.
did. We did. I thought it was fantastic anyway, and I'm delighted you accepted the invitation. It was so good. And like anybody who joined us, that's, a small business or a micro business, definitely got, some really, really helpful tips. So thanks so much.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Yeah, it was a lot of fun, especially
Yeah,
turning it to the wedding industry. There's so many changes that have happened in recent months that I'm sure the wedding industry, like every other industry, has been turned on top of its head.
it has indeed, Anna. It has indeed. Deirdre has just joined us and she's saying hello to us. She's saying, good evening, Jackie
Hey,
and
Deirdre.
Anna. Yes, the wedding industry has been turned upside down, but there seems to be a little bit of a light at the end of the tunnel. And I think everybody is scampering to get themselves sorted and organized and looking after their couples. So I really enjoyed yesterday, Anna. I thought it was fantastic, especially the bit about there was a question that we asked you, and I think it was something to do about standing out from the crowd and listening.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I thought, and storytelling as well. I thought the storytelling was really important. That particular point that you brought up, I thought that was fantastic.
Well, it is storytelling. There's a lot of research now about storytelling. There's a lot being said about how important stories are. So I was listening to, I'm reading a book actually called, what was the name of that? I'll have to share it later. But it's a great book about stories and how there are actual companies that have totally changed what they're doing based on a story. So everybody's familiar, for example, with Wrigley gum, the Wrigley gum. Mm-hmm. And for a long time, Wrigley gum was it. I mean, if you were going to chew gum, you were going to chew Wrigley gum. It was the standard, if you will. It was kind of like the Lexus of gums, I suppose. But they hit a period of time where Wrigley wasn't getting the sales and they couldn't figure it out. So they did data-based advertising. These are the features. These are the things you can enjoy. And then that wasn't working either. But they stumbled across this idea of creating a story about the gum. And the story was centered around a young boy giving a young girl a piece of gum, and how that beginning of a relationship turned into a lifelong relationship. They got married, appropriate for a wedding chat, right? Yeah. And there you go. But that story about how offering a piece of gum to a girl, and within the span of a minute, you go from offering the gum to them getting married. Now you've created a story. Now this was a made up story, but their sales started to go back up at an amazing rate. So stories are very powerful when it comes to sales, because we're connecting on an emotional level with people, and emotionally is where we make those decisions. Like it or not, guys, it's not because of all of your data that you have there. It's really because what you want, and you give yourself the reasons to get what you want.
Yeah, I agree. It was when you said that yesterday during the Twitter chat that I went, oh my gosh, I don't really tell stories. And it's when you said that, I was like, okay, yeah, I think that's a really valid point, because you're, if you like, you can, with words, you can create imagery, and with creating imagery, you can create the desire.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
I think, storytelling definitely. So Anna, listen, I just want to get to know a little bit more about you. You and I know each other a tiny little bit because we met a few years ago when you were in Dublin. But tell us a little bit, what inspired you to become a sales coach?
Well, I've always had a bent for wanting to help people. And usually it's when I've come through a difficulty myself. And so my housing business was doing very, very well, but I really didn't know anything about marketing or about sales. The
Hmm.
only reason I was getting stuff is I was getting things off of the internet, which is fine. But the
Hmm.
problem was is my market had shifted dramatically and I didn't know how to recover because the only people I knew how to market to were the people who were already finding me.
Yeah.
They were evaporating rapidly, and suddenly I didn't have the income that I had before. I tried a couple of things, did not work out very well, but I did find out that I love to talk, which I'm sure
Oh,
you remember, Jackie.
I do. I do.
And I found out that I was actually defeating myself by over talking, by
Oh,
talking too much to people.
oh,
And
right.
so somebody challenged me. They said, you really need to learn sales. And they said, I started with this book, gave me the name of the book, The Psychology of Selling by Brian Tracy. So I got the book, read it, and I'm like, oh my, this is a learnable skill. I could actually do this. Taking those things, I paid for a coach. So I would highly recommend people get a coach. You can coach with, somebody like myself. Usually you want to find somebody that's pretty similar in temperament and will understand your situation, but also kick you in the pants to get you moving. Coaches don't leave you where you are. So this particular coach did that for me. I went to him with a problem I was having, and he said, who are the people in your area? I told him, he said, and they meet? And I go, yeah, actually they do. And he goes, do you have a connection? And I had a connection. So he inspired me to go to that connection. The connection then spoke to the head of an organization. They were having a meeting, and I got invited to the meeting to speak. Now, I had some public speaking experience, so I put together a presentation where I could make a good impression. Out of that meeting came one of my biggest sales ever,
Oh,
all
wow.
because of sales coaching. So then I started just telling people what I was doing, and my coach said, you should get paid for that, Anna. So part of the reason I continue sales coaching is, one, I love to help people. But the other thing, Jackie, is that I need to stay on top of my game. If I'm going to
Yeah.
tell you to make phone calls every day, you darn well better make sure that you, sales coach, are doing the same thing. So it's a form of accountability for me, as well as helping people enjoy confidence when they're speaking to people and building relationships that lead to customers becoming, or people becoming your customers.
Yeah, and then hopefully advocates. And I think that's one of the problems. I don't know whether every small business or micro business person would sort of go through this, but I think there's sometimes a lack of confidence when you're selling your own product or your own service. So that word confidence that you put in there, like that's what you help people to do. That's the whole thing about selling, isn't it? It's more about having confidence
Mm-hmm.
and in what you're doing and having that in your aura, if you will. Would I be right in saying that, Anna?
Yes, confidence. So my first sales coach, Eric Lofholm, he said that the person who has more confidence usually wins the conversation. So the person who knows what they're talking about and feels comfortable about it. Now, let me caveat that by saying everybody goes through what I would call the imposter syndrome.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, how can I talk about that? Because we know all the things that we are doing wrong. And that tends to eat away at our confidence. What we have to realize is that we're still the experts. So you, my dear, are the expert when it comes to calligraphy. I'm an expert when it comes to working with entrepreneurs, building sales processes, and building confidence. But we all have our area of expertise, and there are people dying to hear what we have to say. They want to know what it is that we can do for them, because if they could figure it out on their own, they would have. They
Yeah.
need
Yeah.
us. They
Yeah.
need us to help them solve their problems. That's all
Yeah.
sales is.
And as you're talking, I can sort of see the confidence and the storytelling coming into one when you said they need us, they need to hear about our experiences. So that's where the two are almost coming together, and combining, and then almost flowering and blossoming, if you will. Would I, that's the kind of imagery I'm getting in my head. Tell us a little bit more about yourself, Anna, because I know you're a mother of seven, is it? And you have a lovely husband.
Yeah, I do. So my children range in age from 19 all the way to, I think this year, Sarah will be 34.
Wow.
34, yeah. Um, and I've been married to my husband going on, this year will be 38 years. We've known each other almost 40 years.
Wow.
Um, I'm also a black belt in the martial arts. So I now carry a fourth degree in the martial arts, which makes me a master.
Oh, wow.
So I still am considered a novice in many circles when it comes to that, because you are considered a novice until you've been practicing for 20 years. I haven't quite made it to 20 years yet in my martial arts practice. It was in my martial arts practice that I learned that I was capable of more than I thought. And that
Mm,
bleeds into our sales too, Jackie.
mm,
So many people think, well, I just can't do that. I'm not a
mm,
natural born salesperson. I'm
yeah.
not outgoing.
Mm,
I can't talk nonstop. Well, the good news is that one, sales is a learnable skill. Two, you don't want to talk nonstop. That will kill your sale. And three, there's no such thing as a natural born salesperson. As a matter of fact, those people who are quote unquote natural born salespeople, those people actually tend to talk too much, not ask enough questions, not listen very well, and they actually don't do as well as people who will ask questions, listen, and help the customer come up with solutions. So I see we have a
mm.
question. What is the cost
Yes.
for your breakthrough session? Well, I have good news for you. It's
Woo.
affordable. It's free.
Yay! I'm ringing you now.
A sales breakthrough session, what we do is we look at what your biggest challenge is. What is it that is the big thing that's keeping you from moving forward with more sales? We talk about maybe one or two ways that you can work around it. And then I lay out for you what your fastest path to cash is. Now, I will tell people that for a sales breakthrough session, at the end, I do offer for you to work with me if it looks like it's going to be a good fit. Because I would be amiss if I don't offer you the opportunity to help make your sales better.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
thank you.
Sarah says
Yes.
amazing. Sarah is the looks after our Instagram, actually, Anna. So
Oh,
she's
nice.
yeah, yeah, yeah. She's
Nice, nice,
fantastic.
nice. So I do. I love helping people, and even here's how stories, if I may share, like the event
Cool.
that happened today. So I'm also a real estate investor. And so I buy, I fix up and I sell properties, or I buy and I hold them and I rent them out. And so we have a property that we had put up for sale, got a buyer almost immediately. And we went through their laundry list, fixed a lot of problems that they had pointed out that they wanted us to do. And then just in the last few days, realized that the air conditioner was not cooling as it should have been. So now you have to understand, today we're supposed to sign papers to where they get the house and we don't have to own the house anymore. It's supposed to be a lovely day in paradise.
Yeah.
I got a phone call this morning from somebody that I asked to go look at the air conditioner to say that it wasn't going to be a simple fix, but it could run into thousands of dollars.
Wow. Setback.
That's hard. It's really
Yeah.
hard. And with
Yeah.
that knowledge, now you have to share that with the new owners, because they have to be made aware of what they're getting into. Now,
Yeah.
here we are, we're just an hour away from them going to the title company and signing the papers. but I had to call and I had to let their realtor know what was going on. Hello, Michelle. Good to see you. And I mean, I had to leave the whole thing up to them. We now had a situation where they could walk away, and I had to let them do that.
Yeah.
But here's where emotional investment comes in and how that can be very powerful in building a relationship. Yeah. These people had invested money. They'd already seen themselves in the house, living in the house, growing, glowing, raising their family in the house. They'd already seen all of these things. And when this situation arose and we were willing to let them walk away because of the problem, they had some choices. We made an offer to compensate in part for some of the repairs that they're going to have to get for the house. And they moved forward, but they didn't have to. But here's the thing. We were talking about stories earlier. They'd already bought their own story of what they wanted to do in that house. So even something as significant as this air conditioning problem, which here in South Texas, you're talking about temperatures regularly getting into the triple digits Fahrenheit. So an air conditioner is important. We're not talking about something that you could take or leave, but they'd already made not just the financial investment, but the emotional investment. Yeah. And they elected to move forward. Now, of course, I'm happy. I'm going to be a little poorer for the result, but not as much as I would be if I had to go out and hold on to the property.
Yeah.
So, the point being that those stories are important. And I know we're a little over time, so I don't want to take any more time, but I just wanted to use that as an illustration of, whatever industry you're in.
Yeah, I think so. That's the thing about sales, is that it really doesn't matter what industry you're in. You really have to almost sit in the customer's seat, and understand what emotions they're going to go through. But Anna, you and I could talk for hours. We know that, don't we?
We could. Like I said, I am a talker.
We spoke for hours, and I know that you're very busy this afternoon, and you stopped and you made the time to speak with us, and I really, really appreciate it. Is there anything that you would like to say? Because I know you have to rush off. Is there anything that you would like to say that we didn't cover in the short time that we had together?
Well, here's the thing. Build your confidence in your product. And there are ways to do it. And it's not necessarily about adding more widgets or having more features. It's really about how you present yourself and how you invest in your customer emotionally to help them invest back with you. And if you can do that, my book, Black Belt Selling with Confidence, Closing with Confidence, that book talks about some ways that you can start to build that confidence. And what I'd like to offer is that if anyone would like a free copy of the book, what you can do, email me at anna@annascheller.com, put in the subject line book, and I will send you instructions on how to get the book for free. And I will throw in that sales breakthrough session. Even though the session is free, it is free, but I normally charge $250 an hour. So you're getting a half hour of my time for free, and you'll walk away with something that you can do right away to start building your confidence in sales and closing more sales.
Wow, Anna, that is so generous of you. Thank you. I know I know 2, maybe 3 people that will pick up the phone to you straight away.
Awesome. That's great. Is one of them in the room with me right now? Yes. So thank you so much, Jackie, for having me. And to Sarah and Michelle for joining us. Thank you so much.
And Deirdre.
Oh, I'm sorry, Deirdre. Beautiful, not perfect.
That's it. We're done. Okay, listen, Anna, thank you so much. I know you have to rush off, and thanks again for making the time. Really appreciate it. And I know that, you know, people can watch this on replay and pick up some really useful information from you. And we'll be publishing a blog tomorrow as well, which will summarize our Twitter chat, which was amazing. I have to say it was amazing. The best Twitter chat we've had so far.
Sweet. I'm glad I could be part of that. Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Excellent. So thanks everyone for tuning in. And if you're watching this on replay, thank you very much. And take care. So bye for now.
Bye-bye.